Today, we're doing a little bit of a throwback. We are coming back to NCAA 14 revamped to just see how it holds up against College Football 25. Because I haven't played this in about 2 years, I kind of forget the ins and outs of it. So we're going to go through a couple, Road to Glory, Dynasty, playing out of the game, stuff like that to just see how it holds up. And so we're just going to get straight into it. The first thing I want to look at is just playing out, just see how the game feels, because honestly, I kind of forget. I remember it was a little bit more sticky than College Football 25, but let's just hop straight into it. Obviously, the first thing you notice is the graphics aren't very good, but you really can't blame them. Obviously, a game that comes out, 11 years later is going to have way better graphics. We're here more for the gameplay, I feel like, in this video. Kick returns, I do remember, are a lot easier in this game. If you return it, you can easily get it out to like the 35 every time. There we go. I am on varsity. I probably should take it up to All-American, but I wanted to just see how it felt first before, upping the difficulty. Okay. I'm going to play a defensive possession and then raise the difficulty. Overall, for that first drive, it did feel pretty good. It felt responsive. It felt a lot more responsive than 25. Obviously, people say this is more arcadey. I have to agree with that, obviously. And there's a balance between arcade and realism. Kicking, obviously, I would say it's kind of easier. It's definitely a lot different, but I'd say it's easier than in 25 because that's something a lot of people complained about. They kept missing field goals and stuff, especially with the crowd pulse. I prefer the new kicking mode though. I also remember that random hurry up. I don't know why they do that. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing hurry up every time. Defense was not my strong suit. I will say that defense was harder in this game. I remember that. But yeah, offense felt kind of broken at times. I usually had offense higher difficulty. I moved the difficulty up to All-American to hopefully get a better challenge. This is going to be my last drive before I go to Dynasty. I'm going to try a field goal, and then it's going to be it for gameplay. 57-yarder. What's up? No good. Alright, that's going to be it for the gameplay aspect of this video. I rate it pretty good. I don't know if it's better than 25. They're definitely super different. It's kind of hard to rate them and, compare them. They're both fun in their own ways. I'm here in my Colorado Dynasty back when this was a series on my channel. I didn't end up finishing it, but if you want to, you can go back and watch those videos. They're still up. It was super fun. But I wanted to look around just the different features of the Dynasty mode in NCAA 14. You had your recruiting board up here. You had a scale 1 to 500. That's similar to 25. This one seems a lot more straightforward. This guy has 0. He has this bonus. We're only 60 behind. We just dump a bunch of points in. We can secure him pretty easily. There's no deal breakers and stuff like that, It's just, if you want a player, go all in. You can control your points, and then you have so many every week. So, overall, it's kind of split 50-50 like a lot of things. Some people think this is easy. It's simple. It's good for the game, for the recruiting part of it. While others want a more tedious and I guess immersive experience. You have to go after these players. 25 is definitely more work than this, but I don't know if it truly satisfied those hardcore players' needs. I like this system the best just because it's the easiest, but I understand where people come from when they say that they want it to be harder. You have your coach skill trees, which are very similar to what we have now. You get your points for completing goals and stuff like that. You see Coach Prime, I have 6 upgrades. Apparently I didn't spend much time upgrading when I did my series. You had stuff like your coach philosophy, which has different sliders and settings for how you want your coach to act in how you want your team to play, I guess, which is good. This tab was really fun. You have your top stories and schedules, top 25 polls, conference standings, Heisman watch. All these are really good immersion factors to just come in here and immerse yourself in your, Dynasty world. You have your stories. You have about, 8 of them to look at across the league, stuff like that. You have your Heisman watch, players of the week, toughest places to play. These are all really good things that helped NCAA 14 Dynasty be replayable and not just get stale like, maybe College Football 25 a little bit. Looking at the team management tab now, for the hardcore players, they spend a lot of time here. You have your depth chart, obviously. It's pretty straightforward. It's a depth chart. Same thing we have in 25. But in terms of stuff like formation subs, now these were obviously confirmed as coming back in 26. I said that in my previous video if you want to go watch that. But they weren't in 25. So that's something a lot of people were disappointed with. And here they are. You could change who you wanted in for different formations, which I think is a really cool feature. And it sucks it wasn't in 25. But once again, good thing it's coming back in 26. You have your injury report. You have your practice, which practice didn't really do anything. I wish it would. I wish, you could get some of those boosts and stuff. Same thing, I talked about that last video. You practice plays, you should get a boost in game, but you really don't. Practice doesn't do anything. And then, you can edit your playbook, pull plays in and out, stuff like that. Most of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory in the Dynasty mode. You have your complete stats and records, which is another thing that was absent from 25. I mean, there were stats, obviously, but they weren't to this level as in NCAA 14. So that's something that people complain about a lot. You have your instant classics, which I think is super cool. I love those. You have your trophy room, which is very cool. Obviously, I didn't win anything, but that's because it was my first season playing. Another thing that was absent from 25 was the trophy room, and people got really mad about that, which I can agree with. Here are the auto subs, audible, stuff like that. Just sliders, And we're back to the start page. So, all in all, I think this Dynasty does take the cake. The main thing people complain about this Dynasty for is the recruiting. But like I said, I like the recruiting. Some people don't. Some people say it's way too easy, which, once again, I can see where they're coming from, but still, I don't think it's a downfall. And other than that, there's really not that much that people complain about, I guess. Maybe the sim times, the advanced week takes a while, but in terms of your experience playing Dynasty, it's pretty good for a game that came out in 2013. Moving on to Road to Glory. You obviously could pick an existing player, which is absent from 25. And once again, I talked about it last video. I keep saying that, but I did. And I said I would love to see this in the game. And it's not in today's game, but it is back then. You can see I'm in CJ Stroud's shoes, I guess, in Road to Glory. So we're just going to walk around here real quick. You have your legend score, which I don't exactly remember what this is. Something to do with, I guess, just breaking records, getting stats. Coach Trust. This was obviously the most vital part of any Road to Glory save. You unlock things every time, you did stuff right. You unlock starting, you unlock captain, hometown hero, team leader, all this stuff. And then eventually team legend. You could use audible plays and pre-play, whatever that means. And then no more squiggly lines, out of way games. All this stuff was pretty fun. And it's pretty similar to what we have today. Skill upgrades. So this is a little bit different than College Football 25. You can spend these points. Similar to Dynasty, we have all these stories, polls, Outlook, Heisman Watch, stuff like that. That's just kind of a staple of NCAA 14. You have your school and NCAA records. Another thing that was absent from 25. You can change your stuff here. You have your trophy room. Once again, you have your strategy, highlights, instant classics, and that's about it. So you don't have that on-campus feel. And I know if you go back games from this, like if you go back to NCAA 6, 7, 8, something like that, you're going to have a lot more immersive stuff. This one is kind of absent in terms of college experience, which is something complained about. Even College Football 25 has more immersion when it comes to the college experience, even if it's just messages and like grades and stuff like that. So all in all, I think this Road to Glory beats out College Football 25 for the one thing I haven't mentioned yet, which is high school. Because people love playing high school in, NCAA 14. It's absent for 25. It's coming back to 26, but with like an asterisk, I guess you could say, because you don't actually get to play the full game. So I don't know. I like playing high school a lot, and that's why I think Road to Glory was better back then than it is today. Ultimate Team, I'm not really going to talk about. A, because I can't even get into it because of the connection stuff, but B, most of the people that watch my videos don't care about Ultimate Team. They just care about the 2 core game modes, Dynasty and Road to Glory. I'm just going to wrap up this video by talking about a couple other things. For example, you have Create a Player, which isn't in, College Football 25, obviously, and it isn't coming anytime soon, just because of the NIL and likeness stuff. So that's obviously a plus for NCAA 14. You can edit your coaches, you can edit rosters, you can move players however you want. You have your custom playbooks, team builder, uniform source. So in terms of customization, you have a lot more options in NCAA 14, but I won't put the blame on EA for that because I know there's copyright issues and stuff. So that's kind of the problem that arises from that stuff. But all in all, I would say the gameplay is slightly better for College Football 25 just because it's more realistic. You're more into it. It might feel a little more animation based, but we're getting that new Frostbite engine this year anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I definitely think the gameplay is too arcadey in 14 at times. It's too easy to make good throws. There's sliders and stuff, but at the end of the day, it feels how it feels, and I think that College Football 25 feels a lot better. Dynasty, I think it's pretty objective to say that NCAA 14 takes the cake for Dynasty just because of the immersion factors. There's more stuff going on. Once again, the recruiting stuff it's up in the air. You could have it either way you want it. People have different opinions. It happens, but I definitely think Dynasty is better. And then Road to Glory, once again, I think takes the cake in 14 just because of high school and the recruiting process, the committing process. It's just more streamlined. It's easier as opposed to just jumping straight into college. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. Of course, if you have any different opinions or just want to comment anything, feel free to comment down below. And make sure to like and subscribe for more College Football 25 and 26 content. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.